I have heard many people say that I am very much in praise of my mother's tribe than my father's tribe. Almost all the people who tell me are YouTube people. YouTube because before I set up my YouTube channel, I had not started talking about myself. But I've used the YouTube channel to explain the things that I stand for. And also, you can see the gray hair. You'll see that when you get old, it is time for you to think about Zakomba. Zakomba. Zakomba is calling you. Zakomba is the other word for Lingala. Lingala, they have two names of God. One of them is Zakomba. People are used to the name Zambe, but even Zakomba is God. So when you start growing a gray hair, you know that Zakomba is waiting for you. So you start speaking your own things. And when I speak, one thing I believe is that I believe in two things. The first thing I believe in is you cannot, you are nobody can assess himself or herself. It is other people who see you. Uh, so when over 98% people say that I favor my mother's tribe to my father's tribe, on that strength alone, and in the NIS we are taught that if you have several sources telling you something, and the sources are not connected, or they do not, or even if they are connected, they do not know, like two classmates, they are both telling you something, but everyone is telling you thinking that he or she is the only one talking to you. So you find that when they talk, and also thinking that there is no other person, like if there is a village somewhere, you tell somebody, you are my only source of information. But in that village, you have around 7 people. So each of them, if they come with the same story, almost the same story, which has the same background, then it shows it is that way. So when you find that over 98% of the subscribers or viewers conclude so, I end up by accepting. I end up by accepting because I am surrounded 360 degrees, isn't it? But my eyes can only see, it cannot even see 180. Somebody said, is it 118? Yeah. Even things in the direction of my ears, I cannot see unless I turn. So I can see so far, but somebody else can tell me how everything is. So I accept that I have a higher liking or a higher admiration of my mother's people more than my father's people. But if you are a Bukusu, I don't know of other tribes, but we have Luhyas that we call Northern Luhyas. That is Bukusu, Kabrasi Tachoni, and Nyala Wandombi, people from Navajo. These people have a saying which says, eh, Omundu kiraire boho chawe. Omundu kiraire boho chawe. Uh, a maternal uncle has a very much influence on kids more than the mother who is who is his sister, or even the father. It is even during any celebration, be it for a girl or be it for a boy, that in northern Luhya, I don't know whether the other Luhya, the other several Luhyas have that. I don't know. They may or may not. But the northern Luhya, uh, an uncle plays a very big role. Another thing among the Luhyas is that your maternal uncle, we believe that the curse, okay, according to Luhya, you know, the pre-gender days, they used to say that your mother can curse you, but the curse of your father is more stronger than your mother's. But then in the northern Luhyas, we have a belief that all curses except that one of the God of God, not the God. All curses except Zakomba. All curses except Zakomba or Zambe. The person with the strongest curse, according to the northern Luhyas, is your mother's brother. Uh, that one covered. Even among Kikuyus, your mother's brother has more curse than any other person. That is why among the Kikuyus, when you know your mother's brother, whether you are a lady or a gentleman, but you know your mjomba, he says, Nengo nyita mokonyo, ngonyita mokonyo. So what you do, before he nyitas mokonyo, you should have run away so far that when he nyitas mokonyo, you are nowhere near there. So I've said that in the two tribes, other people talk of clans. You find people saying my father comes from this clan and my mother comes from this clan. Others say my father comes from this sub tribe and my mother comes from this sub tribe. Then it comes to me where I say my mother is from this tribe and my father is from this tribe. There are others who say my father is from this race and my mother is from this race. So another advantage of doing that is that you grow up simultaneously adapting to traditions effortlessly. Effortlessly. Uh, I I will I will not talk about all the Luhyas because unfortunately I do not know about all the Luhyas. I know a lot about the northern Luhya, and the northern Luhya I said the northern Luhya I said is Bukusu, Kabras Tachoni, and Nyala from Navaholo. Those ones I have a great knowledge of them. And anytime you find me criticizing Luhya, uh, 85% of the occasions is that I'm criticizing northern Luhyas. We have the southern Luhyas. These people, according to my understanding and taking, they are, their characteristics is less towards the northern Luhya, but more Kikuyu-like. It is more Kikuyu-like for those southern Luhya. And of southern Luhya are the people I'm considering to be from Vihiga County, especially the Maragoli. So you find even if I start saying Luhyas are bad, this and that, you find that whatever I criticize is mostly it's I'm criticizing the northern Luhya. We have the central Luhya. I'm sorry I would not say that I know a lot about them. These are the Isuha, these are Hayega, Ikolomani, Butere, Mumias, such people. I don't think I know their tradition very well. I would not authoritatively be in a position to comment about their traditions. The same applies to Luhyas from Mumia, no, not Mumias, from Busia, from Busia. I've not interacted with them so much. I would say, that, okay, I know something about the central Luhyas, the Hayega, Ikolomani, Mumias. But I know about Busia very, very little to how to form an opinion. But what we always say that there is the theory of timing. Why am I speaking now and today? There is some young boys and girls, some young people from my home village who are philanthropic. These young people from my village who are philanthropic, that I saw them and I was shocked. I was shocked. I said, "You mean these people can come from northern Luhya?" Then that is when I decided to upload this video. I would request you, and I'll share I'll tell you their name. For as of now, I think the best thing to do is let us subscribe to their YouTube channel. And if you look at their YouTube channel, it is very informative and it is very much human. They are philanthropic. Of course, you'll find that sometimes that you may need to, because these are young working people. They work, yes, they are employed, but they have committed themselves that is it a quarter? Each of them contributes a quarter of his or her salary to that, and you'll see from the videos what they do. I was shocked, and you see they were even. I saw the videos. Where you come from, and I saw the people. They visit people with the disabilities and whatever. They contribute from their pockets. As of now, I'd say let us subscribe. Let us subscribe so that even the YouTube channel earns them something. And also, sometimes when you feel philanthropic enough, I think you can M-Pesa them something. Their YouTube channel is called Shelter of Love Organization. I'll repeat, Shelter of Love Organization. That one is let me not talk. You just see that, and let us make a small agreement. First of all, watch their videos before you subscribe. If you see that they deserve it, then you subscribe. Not only subscribe, but even take an effort of having a number of people to subscribe, depending on your connection and your love for such work they are doing. Uh, you see, I say that makes me see the rare positive attitude among the northern Luhya. I started seeing negative attitude among Luhyas in 1976. 1976, I was in Form 1 at Technical High School, Nairobi. But many people call that school, nowadays it's a TTI, but people call it Nairobi Technical. But the actual name is Technical High School, Nairobi. I used to visit some military men at Langata Barracks. When I used to visit these people in Langata Barracks, you see a barrack, even in those days when there was no HIV, because HIV was to come 10 years later, those time when there were no HIV, soldiers used to die, and Kenya used not to go to war, but for a place where you have 1,000 soldiers, definitely you expect each and every month there is a funeral. Uh, so you find that whenever there was such a funeral, you could you see a military camp with 1,000. They have all tribes in Kenya, but when the people go for that funeral and they come back to Langata, you could notice some things. Even when I was 15 years and in Form 1, I noticed that, and I with concern that whenever a Luhya person died and they went to the funeral, or whenever somebody else died and a Luhya soldier went for that funeral, they, you find that they take funeral to be a very, very, and even if you talk to a Luhya, you'll find he's always talking siku ile or when he's at home he says nataka siku ile nitakufa. Yani he lives for his funeral. Enjoy life when it is there. When you die, there are only 7 people who are needed: the pastor, the pallbearers. The pallbearers are 6 and the pastor 7, plus the immediate family or whoever would want to come. So hii mambo ya kusema oh, when I die I don't know what that is, I'll elaborate later. And also another thing that provoked me to record this one is that Huatenge was my grandfather, and Huatenge had so many kids. I only know that we had 8 fathers. We had 8 fathers. That is 4 grandmothers, and each grandmother had two sons. So each house there were 2 fathers. I hope you understand. And we even had aunts. Now aunts, I don't know how many they were. So in a Kikuyu tradition, if you have if you have 7 wives, then you'll have 7 boys named after your father and 7 girls named after your mother. But among Luhya, you only one person is named after his grandfather or his grandmother or whatever. No 2 people can be named after the same person. So you find that we have 8 fathers and aunts, let's say 15. So we have the grandsons of Huatenge, who are called Huatenge, are 15. We are 15. So you find that one of the Huatenges, because his father and my father are brothers, were brothers, when my YouTube channel started expanding, he called me. Apparently, we look alike. Actually, we look alike because we share a grandfather. So people saw me on the video, and they mistook him for me. So they went to him. He didn't even know that I was on YouTube. Hey, your YouTube is performing well. Then he said, no, that one is my brother of another father. I think that is when the name became my brother of another father. So he picks up a phone, calls me, says, I see. By then I think, is it 25 or 30,000 subscribers. Said, we have had, I'm made to understand you're minting millions. I wanted to do this. I wanted you to take care of that money. Actually, you should even come to where I am. You should come to where I am so that we plan that the boom that is coming, the boom that is coming your way, we can plan. He even gave me, imagine calling me, and in that one phone call, even without or whatever, he had spent years without calling me and whatever. But he wanted to tell me, first of all, he wanted to appreciate that where he is, he's getting reports that I'm doing well. But most important, he was telling me that the millions I'm going to get from YouTube, I should be very careful. And he was even suggesting that I go to see him, so that he even came up with a few plans. Invest your money in this, invest. Sasa, if someone knows, that is now the problem with the lawyers. Northern lawyers mostly. When I was joining the YouTube, when I was moving from a cyber cafe to a cyber cafe, telling them, can you please subscribe me? Nobody was, and whatever. Now the Luhya, the northern Luhya, even if today, let's say, we have so many ways you can win a jackpot or whatever, you'll find a lot of them now visiting you, telling you that not every time do you get such a jackpot. So I have come to advise you on the best. But the Kikuyus, first of all, the Kikuyu will never enter your life unless you invite him or her. A Kikuyu will never enter. And you see, as I've given you the example of Huatenge, my brother of another father, He had already been told, he had already learned, and he had already budgeted. Now his was just to come. But a Kikuyu will just stay there. And you see, the Kikuyu will not even show you. He will not even show you that he's aware of whatever. It is you now telling to assist you in planning. And in my learnings, at my age now, I believe that Kikuyus prefer advising you on ways and means of getting your money. Yeah, they can tell you, let us like now. It is easy for a Kikuyu to tell you that why can't you start a YouTube channel? I see people getting money from. He'll tell you, why can't you save your money? It reaches this way. You buy a motorcycle, give a young boy here to be using boda boda so that each day he brings you 300. That is how the Kikuyu operates. But a Luhya, he'll advise you on how to invest. So I've just given you an example of a very close relative and namesake uh, who, after believing that, by the way, that is why I usually tell people to give somebody something through the pay bill, because even with 45, is it 44 or 45? 45,000 subscribers and view hours. If I were to tell you what I get, you'll be shocked. And I ask myself, what about those people who earn averagely? So I would tell anybody in Kenya or anybody out of Kenya, if you're out of Kenya and you're happy with the work and you know somebody in Kenya, uh, Mumia was a schoolmate. He, we had two schoolmates. Both of them are called Mumia because of their father. Now there is Mumia in Canada. Is it Canada or USA? On weekly basis, he talks to his brother who is in Kenya. Sasa the other brother, when he's sending him home to do what they do, that is when the Kenyan-based Mumia or Mumia sends me something. So we rely mostly on the pay bill more than this, even if we are people watch us a lot. So if you are pleased with any of us, not necessarily me, even others whom you find the person is really trying, I would advise you to kindly be sending something through the pay bill or the M-Pesa account if you know. I hope you get there. So among the Kikuyus, you find that the Kikuyu will advise you on starting a project, at least to supplement your salary. But if today you are to get something, a jackpot or anything, Luhyas will have uh, telling you on what to do. We have some social comments people make that someone was even telling me that the way I tell the stories, it's like what we call in the northern Luhya, there's something that is called omuse. So someone was telling me, instead of wasting your time telling Kenyans histories and whatever, we need you at home. We need you at home. You see, but if Vasco da Gama would have preferred to stay at home and communicate in the local fitin and whatever, we would not have known about what we know about Vasco da Gama. So here is and a lot, and people talk seriously. Yeah, you know how to communicate. You know what? You come and start omuse. Wacha YouTube ya watoto. It is true. Uh, it is very hard to find somebody in the 60s maintaining a YouTube, but I've had my niche where I tell people things that no other YouTuber can do that. But then somebody sits there. That is what I'm telling you why I have a low opinion about Luhya. A Luhya sits there, decides something for you, and he feels that he's entitled to tell you to do whatever you're doing. That one is very rare among Kikuyus, but among the northern Luhyas, it is very common. Actually, it is that way. So he wants me to go for omuse. I'm a like omuse. Now let me tell you, YouTube goes very different. There are some times when I record something and it does not even reach 100 views on the first day. It doesn't reach 100 views. Views are watched according to the interest that people see. Then that is when they decide to watch. We have this YouTube about Robert Ouko. It has already been watched by 264,000 views. And I have some views, especially religious ones in Lingala, which have not even clocked 100 even today. So it depends on what I upload and what people watch. But on a bad day, on a bad day, I'm talking of one day, on a bad day, on a bad day, I get more than what a person of the Kumuse gets per funeral. I get more than what a Kumuse fellow gets in a per funeral. And then when you find the way the Kumuse is, although it is historical and it is somebody who, me, I grew up, 90% of my life has been out of home. I do not know a lot of traditions. Those people are the ones who would tell you how Moses was going to Egypt and somebody who was called Magero. And Magero started taking Luhyas downwards. They reached Lake Kyoga and he led them and brought them to East Africa. I don't know those stories. It needs somebody who has practiced. But the most important thing is most of the people who Kumse people, they talk things which are unimaginable. Something like they even twist things. Any Bukus will tell you. Uh, there is one, in Luhya tradition, if you are very sick or drunk or having a running no stomach, a man that is, because rarely do women do that. But if a man has a running stomach and when he's sleeping, maybe he tries to rush to out of the house for a long call, but because he has a running stomach, uh, he he passes stool in the house. Of course, women by nature are nurses. She will attend to him until he has recovered. According to Luhya tradition, especially northern Luhya, when she has recovered, she she has to go to her home. She has to go to her home, and the husband has to pay her people. She has to go to her home and be cleansed to have handled human waste. She has to go and be cleansed for human waste, for handling human waste. And the husband, even though he was sick, you know, we have occasions, yes, where the rearing happens because maybe you have taken changa or something that is different. But most of it or some of it even involves most of it or some of it involves sickness or something, or maybe you are visiting some people and you are given poison. So in short, Luya tradition, you are not supposed to go for a long call in your house. Now you understand. But you find Kumise saying the fellow goes and walks, usually walks from one end to another by saying, do you know why Ukimwi came? Do you know why uh, Corona came? People say no. Says, yeah, since the time of Bukusu, people used not to go to defecate in the house. Now you see, he's trying to say that if you build a house with a toilet in the house, to him that is like he is equating that to him. Now you can see how some of the northern are more primitive than even Turkanas. Jogano msinikasirikia ati nimetukana. But anyway, you can see that. Eh? So and then anybody who dies, even me, when I die, somebody will come and swala kumsi. Now that person, when he comes, my father died a few years ago, and there was a miscommunication. There's not even a miscommunication. Usually, is people look where somebody has died, and they look at the homestead. Now they looked at my father's position. They looked at us and concluded that these are well-pocketed people. Actually, the fellow Omse fellow who was at my father's funeral, we paid him, but later on, as I said, 90% of the time I don't stay at home. We later investigated from other places to see how much Omse person is paid, and we found that we had paid him three or four, several times more. So, as I said, when my father died, two of them dashed there. Each one wanted to be the one who would perform the omse. But then we settled for one, and we noticed some very rude exchanges between omse. I don't remember any time that we people on the YouTube have, at mimi, I see my YouTube going this way and then I ashambulia mwingine wa YouTube, but like even today you saw me giving out, and I still will give out the particulars of those young men and women from my home area. So you find that these fellows, when we settled on one, because apparently whoever was organizing for the person to come, the other one just came quickly. He was the first one to arrive, but he was not even told that he had not been called, because they decided to not even talk to him, but see in case the other one doesn't come. So when the other one came, we just asked him, who invited you? He said no. Uh, in Luhya tradition, funerals you are not invited. Then we said no, we had already told this one to do the job. And when he was leaving, he uttered very bad things on the other one. He told him in vernacular, "This is your last kumse happening. You'll not do any other one." And then this one who had won the tender told him, "Don't worry, your family will call me to your kumse." So you find that this is a backward things, although although I have no capacity to stop kumse. To me, I take it as an entertainment because it has no value. But I believe when I go, they will somebody will be just to be called, and you find that lawyers now feel that talking to a village where in a city you get less than 1,000 people, and that is more important than you see. That is how it is. Another thing that I've seen negative among lawyers as compared to Kikuyu of all other tribes. Maybe you may ask why I'm talking of these two. You see, these are the two nearest tribes to me. And then we have some tribes like Kamba or Embu or Meru. They have Kikuyu-like tendencies. So when I say Kikuyu, I'm including those. Uh, you'll find that you are rich and you stay in a place like Runda. Even without your brother telling, I told you that a Kikuyu will know you have a problem but pretend not to notice unless you welcome him. But a Luhya, especially the northern Luhya, if you have a problem, he will run away from you. But when a jackpot comes in, he's there first to come and offer you good investment advice. Good investment advice. Kikuyu will just stay there, but if you give him time and say, "Can you advise me on this and this?" He'll tell you, "Why can't, like I said, why can't you buy a motorcycle to get an extra income?" Such things. Luhya, you buy a motorcycle. The Luhya says, kwanza kuna mtoto wangu hana kazi, nataka umwandike hiyo kazi. You stay in Runda. Your brother stays in Katwekera Kibira. He survives on 1 meal a day. He survives on 1 meal a day, and his children have school fees problems. One day, Luhya Council of Elders will visit you. Say, we don't see the need of you staying in such a big compound and your brother is suffering and he can't pay fees. We want you to be paying fees for your brother. Now the clan, the Umiraka Ger, is deciding that for you. Kikuyus, even you yourself who's staying in, and I've seen Kikuyus. I've got a billionaire. I'll mention him. Peter Kuguru is my uncle. Softa Sogamsake is my uncle. And we have relatives. You find that we have relatives, even those who are sons of the former minister, Gifoine Kuguru. And when you visit your relative in a Runda or Karen or Lavington, you just visit him like any other person. And even when you are leaving, you don't even ask for fare. Mluya anakuangalia anashika hizo pesa. Sorry, I'm talking. But anyway, let me mention the way they say. Hochino ni chucho lure onyeno kumbele sisi mwana wa maiu na mwana wa. See, he feels entitled. Akikuyu hata akitoka hata usipompa fare or anything anaondoka. And then another thing about Kikuyu is that if you are staying in Kibira and your brother is in Runda, a Kikuyu, instead of coming to demand that you pay fees for his child, he can even come to you and take a loan from you. He take a loan from you. The kid, when he's employed, he'll pay you, or the parent after whatever. But a Luhya, okay, even if you have a Luhya senior relative or rich relative in Runda, akikupatia loan, you remember I said the other time about somebody, somebody even told me, hey, somebody was telling somebody in 1976 how his father paid 20 shillings in a funeral. So you find hata Mluya akiwa tajiri, you'll never have peace of mind. You see, okay, let me try to explain. You become a very senior person, very influential, because most of these influential people come from poor background, whatever. So you find somebody going and announcing to people that, were it not for my father to have paid fees for JI-TENGE, he would not be an army brigadier. That is how the lawyers are. Funerals. I have relatives, immediate relatives on both sides. You find that among the Kikuyus, especially those from Madeira, or even other places I've gone, they usually have a representative. That person talks, you are surrounding him. He says, like, your sister is married in Moranga. So you come from Karatina, you go there, they say, now it is the turn for where the lady came from. And you find they are saying that the person who will give a speech won't be. But when it comes to Luhya, especially the northern Luhya, you'll find that when it comes to Luhyas, especially the northern Luhya, everybody will talk and everybody will talk for 20 minutes. That is the northern Luhya for you. Eh? The assistant chief, hey, ndiye anasimama anasema, hey, nyinyi wale wa mama. Some of these things are very, very what? Aibu. Mwingine anasema sasa wewe ndugu yako amekufa, na there are people Luhyas even from Uganda, the Gishus and whatever. So somebody stands up and says, tunajua wewe mtu wa kijiji hii ambaye una nini, we ni mtu wa hii kijiji na we ni ndugu yako amefiliwa, badala uje matanga umeanza kupika chang'aa. And that is what, and the assistant chiefs use that as a they use that as a baraza. Now ulingoja mtu akufe ndio. In Kikuyu land the assistant chief just greets people, but in Luhya land, in Rogoro, the assistant chief just greets people. In Lugulu, assistant chief will talk for 15 minutes. Then relatives have said, I talked of the seventh care and how other people used to go for funeral and whatever, and I said I'll talk it later. Now this is when I'll talk. You find that people who stay in urban areas die, and in urban areas you have neighbors from various tribes and various nationalities. Now I want to give you two scenarios. I want to give you a scenario where a Luhya has died and the people go to the funeral. Ask any Kikuyu, ask any other tribe who has gone to Western for the funeral. He or she will just tell you, we went there na tukamzika mwenzetu na tukarudi. But a Luhya who has attended the Luhya funeral will tell you that, will give you a running nini. Hizo nyumba unajua ukiingia kwa compound iko hivi, hata anaringaga tu Nairobi, lakini hata ukienda huko, and then he will even say hata there is even some who even complained on social media, WhatsApp. At imagine I represented them, but we were not acknowledged. Do you know what acknowledgement means? It means two things. One, three things. One, they be given a high table somewhere, whatever, in a tent somewhere hapo kando. Two, be given time to talk. Pay tribute to the dead. And three, be served well, food, soda, and whatever. There is even a WhatsApp group. Luhya alicomplain akasema, we were not acknowledged. That is, they were not fed. Actually, talking about food, have you noticed? And I must say this: any meeting, any social, any welfare, or anything, whatever that the Luhyas are congregating, and that is why there are even times when I go to Central and we start arguing. People say, kwani unafikiri hapa kuna chakula? Luhya will say, na abundwe si yakuliao. Yani, what about food? Budget of, are we whatever. I have seen people now, these funerals which do not necessarily have to be in Luhya land, even in other places. When we have a WhatsApp group and we contribute for money for the funeral of somebody, you find somebody goes to a place like Taita Taveta, he knows nobody or she knows nobody, whatever, says, hey, then tunes, it goes back to, because those who did go for the funeral are following the funeral through WhatsApp. Somebody says, hey, Bwana, we have reached here and I'm hungry and I don't know what, or I even don't know where we'll sleep because I'm taking the vehicle back tomorrow. Say, okay, ask somebody there to show you a hotel and ask somebody to show you a lodging. So that person comes back, I found a lodging so much and I found a hotel where food is so much. We send that person money, but Muluya, he not even sneak to go and eat he wants to be, anyway, that is the truth. Now we come to Luhya welfare. In either when it comes to welfare, Kisii are leading. Kisii are leading. Organizing hata all other Kenyans ukiweka pamoja wafikiwa Kisii. Those people that I just know. But Luhya, imagine a welfare of 24 months. That is 2 years. 90% have paid only 90% have paid, are backward in 20 months ago. They paid the first 4 months and stopped. And you know what? Over 90% of allegation that leaders, officials have stolen money. That one happens among Luhyas. But when it comes to welfare association and religiously following issues of money contribution and whatever, welfare, I can tell you without fear of, of, of contradiction or be proven wrong that cases are leading in Kenya by far. You find that in Luhya, somebody has paid 2 or 3 months and he stays there. If it is a welfare organization of other tribes, that person is registered. And then you find somebody offering, you got for, is it a monthly or a regular meeting? First of all, Aluya will say, we don't meet regularly. When you when you go to meetings, he doesn't attend to the meeting. He will not attend the meeting. When the meeting is there, he'll go to WhatsApp group and say, what was discussed? And then you find that if you spend 2 to 3 months without going for the welfare meeting, the lawyer will say, why don't we have meetings? Why we are not having meetings? Then I know the officials are stealing the money. Some would even offer to resign. Now imagine you are in a monthly meeting. Someone says, me, I want to resign. I want to get out of. So the official looks, going to the bank to withdraw money will take time. And somebody had come with the money to update himself. Me, I don't want this. I want to get out. So, treasurer, how many? So why don't we agree that so and so wants to get out? And that is the amount I had in my pocket that I wanted to upload. Why can't I give him his money? So that, and you find a lawyer complaining. Why is it that every time anybody wants to resign, kuna members wengine wanajitolea kulipa? So, a third person comes, he wants to resign, tell him, can you pay that? That is how lawyers are. Hmm? They complain if it is raining. They complain when it is raining. They complain when the sun is hot, and they will always complain anything and whatever. Uh, Finally, I want to talk about Wetangula before before giving you again the name of those youths. At first, I want you to sign. I'll come to that. You see, Wetangula, when his mother died, Wetangula made a very unfortunate comment. He said, "Food is there in plenty, but people should not take it as a cafeteria." It was unfortunate coming from him, but it is the truth. In Luhya land, any prominent person die, my village, there was Chief Justice Chesoni, and we've seen so many people. You find that in Luhya, that is cafeteria. Nani said during his mother, Wetangula said during his mother's funeral, in Luhya land, you'll find that is when somebody will be walking wherever he goes, and he knows that it reaches such a time, he'll come there for meals. Uh, that is Luhya for you. Now, if you wanted me to be frank with you, I'd rather praise the Kikuyus and keep quiet among Luhyas than even, because I'm not the type of a person who will praise somebody for the sake of praising. I've talked the truth about Kikuyus. Now I have talked about the truth about Luhyas. And I know some people are saying, in that case, he should not even have spoken in the first place. So I request you to subscribe to Shelter of Love organization. Shelter of Love organizations. You will see from their videos. I don't need to. You will see these are kids. These are young people, young men and young women who are mindful of their less fortunate people. Just subscribe, be watching, and once in a while, I don't know, but I think they have a YouTube, maybe they have a Safaricom number, so you can send there something. Sending something there, you will be blessed. Thank you for the long story. which I felt I must say, because sometimes keeping quiet people mistake you. Thank you. God bless you.